Hello, I'm Kevin, one of the team leads for Team 25, and I'll be going over more of the agile side of our project. So before I get started, I want to say that everything that I talk about is most likely going to be in the README. We have a pretty robust README. We have a table of contents about where's our documentation, what is our CI/CD pipeline things, ADR, all of our meetings, retrospectives, everything should be in our README, so you should be able to see that. So yeah, let's just get started. First, I want to talk about the Miro research. So before the project started, after we had the idea down, we went through a phase on Miro where we did overview. We talked about what the project was going to be. Research. We did user personas. Looked at competitors. Talked about like a user journey, things like that. And then ideation, thinking about what features we should have. And then architecture, timeline, and then testing. So that this is all on the Miro that we have, and then later on we also use this Miro board for UI UX stuff. So you can see all the designs that are on our website on here. Next thing is sprint planning and then sprint review and retrospectives. So for sprint planning, we have the sprint planning meeting every Monday, and then sprint review and retrospective meetings every Saturday. So our sprints go from Monday to Sunday, but we have the review retrospective on Saturday so that developers and designers have one more day to do things if they need to polish anything. But for the sprint planning, you can see again all of our sprints are on here. So you can see one of the planning notes. We have just a goal, agenda, some announcements, and some tasks. And then Evan will go over more about this later on. But we have this is our review and retrospective. We combine it into one meeting. And then we just talked about announcements and just everyone gives their updates on what they're doing. And then we also do a retrospective Miro board where this is also linked on the README. You can see all the retrospectives we've done. And then after this is done, we just go over what was talked about in the retrospective board. And that's basically the retrospective. So for the assignments, for the ADR and the CI/CD assignments, we split up the team into two groups, where one group is in charge of ADRs and one group is in charge of CI/CD. So you could see that also on here where we have the ADRs and CI/CD pipeline. I can show you one of the ADRs. So this is one for GitHub pages. We use the MADR template that was given to us by the course staff. And then for the CI/CD pipeline, this is our phase 2 diagram. So you can see what we did throughout the CI/CD pipeline. And then so on the Slack, you can see all of our channels, like the ADR checkpoint, CI/CD checkpoint. We have all these channels. What I want to focus on is the stand-up. So we have something called Geekbot, which is a Slack bot that every Wednesday and Saturday asks you questions. So there's 4 questions total. How do you feel? What have you done since the last sprint? What will you do today? Anything blocking your progress? And then so you just respond to the bot, and then all of the answers will be aggregated onto this post in the stand-up channel where you can see everyone's responses. So there's more transparency and communication. And then there's also an engagement summary. I can see even more statistics about this if I go to the dashboard where I can see just how everyone is doing. So we use this to try to assess the team wellness.
So hey guys, so I'm going to walk through you our team structure, like the development and the designer structure. So firstly, there are two teams. We are divided into two teams, the developers and designers. So as you can see, here are the channels for the designers and developers. We have 3 person in the designer and also 7 people in the developer. And it is divided before the project started. So like in the initially. And how tasks are assigned, usually it is assigned in every time our sprint plan. So we usually made the task first. Me and Gavin made the task before the sprint planning. And then they can choose their own for developers. Each of them can choose what they want to work on. And for the designers, usually they work together, like they hold a meeting and then they work together on the same task. And for the developers, if they don't choose the task by the end of the given time, we will give it based on the points that they have. And for the next one is the story points. So as you can see, we keep track of the total points right here. You can see the table and also the graphs and also the average right here. And for the points, we also be transparent with the members. We always give like the estimated points for each task before they choose. And also they can ask me or Kevin to pump up their points if they feel like this is harder than the estimated points. And for the CI/CD pipeline, um, you can see right here, this is the one of the example from the closed PR. So there are quality monitor. So to keep track of the quality of our codes, and JS doc is just to create documentation about our JS functions, and validate HTML is to validate HTML and CSS. Lint is for lint check using ESLint, and task is using just unit test is using just, and this is another task for the end-to-end testing. We are using Puppeteer. So we are using GitHub Actions to automatically put this task into the PRs. So, and for the CD, we are using GitHub Pages to automatically deploy every time a PR has been merged. Every time there's a changes, it is automatically deployed. And for the CI, this is automatically runs every time there is a new commit or a new PR. Yeah, and also for the issues, so like you can see, every time they already like take the task or assign for a task before they work on something, they need to create an issue first. So you can see this is the general issue template, the task overview, user stories, tabs, and you can assign it to yourself and label it and issue type and also connect it to the project board. And for the project tag tracker on the GitHub, you can see right here there are four categories: backlog, to do, in progress, and done. And backlog is for the collection of tasks that have been identified but haven't completed yet. To do is when you haven't started the assigned task. In progress is when you have started, and done usually when you already close or finish that task. And for the PRs, you can also see it right here. This is the one of the example of the PR that we use. So like a description, and also every time someone already finished, we need at least one reviewers. So this is the example. So I give like helpful comments, and after he has changed it, I give like a helpful comment and then approve it too. And how to run the project, as you can see in the README file, you can check. So firstly, you have to install Live Server in your IDE, and then right-click HTML file and open with Live Server, and then a browser tab usually show up. If not, you have to go to this, and you have to make sure to clear the local storage before using the website. So if so, to make sure you are not using old local storage. And for the coding style guidelines for HTML, CSS, and JavaScripts, it is located in our GitHub repo. For example, like general as use lowercase letters, separate words, and this is some few examples. And this is also some few examples for HTML and CSS and JavaScripts. And also for the last one, so when we have rules for the developers or the future developers that want to contribute, is firstly you have to claim a task or create a task in the GitHub issues. You can check the existing task. If not, you can create your new task, and you have to work on a new branch. This is the example, and you have to create a PR and make sure the PR is has passed all of the check and one at least one reviewers, and then you can ask for a review in the PR review channel in Slack. And that's it for me, and thank you.
So some improvements, definitely implementing the code style guide earlier, so we didn't have to go through like a fixing phase at the end. Better PR assigning strategy. We just kind of gave it to people who were available, but it would be better if there was an actual assigned like strategy for us to do the PRs. And then for some agile challenges and victories, so some challenges, definitely all the meetings and all the communication that's needed for agile to go well. The expanding scope due to continuous development, we realized, oh, maybe this feature would be good. Oh, okay, maybe we can do this. So that was a challenge. Victory, a lot of flexibility in development. And then there was increased transparency through communication and meetings. We have all of our notes just on the repo. We have our sprint review planning, all of our TA meeting notes. We have all of that on the repo so our members can all see it. And then autonomous teams are able to form, which empowers each member to kind of take charge of their own team. There are sub teams that form to maybe we want to try live data, maybe we want this kind of UI design. So sub teams are able to form better under Agile. For future development, we have features. You can see all of them in the issues where all of them are backlogged, and you can see that we want to have live data, implement a deck feature, implement dark mode, and have an actual GPS on the app. So that's all there. And then improvements to the build pipeline, just more testing is always good. And then lastly, having better agile practices. Main thing is having more of a solid understanding of the app and the problem before we started to develop. So more time in the research phase and also the architecture before we started to develop. But yeah, thank you.